I first of all want to make sure that you take your time to go and do your own research on the effects of fasting and what it can do for you. When you do your research, you should find a lot of wonderful things. All right. Let me say this about what I found about fasting and how it helps me and what I've seen myself. We get these gray hairs. Y'all know how we get gray hairs. And gray hairs are basically where there's a hair follicle that's no longer producing melanin. And so what's supposed to happen is that when you fast, or your body is supposed to find those hair follicles and remove the old ones and replace it with a new one. Now, I personally see it. I'll do a 48-hour fast, so I do 2 48-hour fasts, and then a 72-hour fast at the end of the week. I personally see a difference. When I fast, I'll see that I have fewer grays, like they'll disappear, especially when I go into the 72-hour. So I look forward to moving into a longer fasting period, and I'll see that's just what I see. The body is working and doing all kind of other things, allowing me to be more active or what have you. But from the visual, what I see right away is I'll see grays disappear. I've been doing the 3 days a week fast for a couple of months because it took some discipline to go to that 72-hour one. And so once I moved into that, I could really see change. I had always been fasting. Like I said, for 10 years I've been fasting, and I could see a difference in certain things. But once I went to that 72 hours every week, I see a big difference. Okay, you have to be cognizant of making sure that you get all of the right minerals and nutrients that you're supposed to get. If it means taking vitamins or what have you, do that. If it means eating certain foods, do that. All right, if you're going to fast, be cognizant of that. What you're supposed to have, what you need. Be cognizant of your nails, your hair, your skin. Be cognizant of how your body is responding to it. For me, I used to eat, I told you I did the carnivore diet, and I'd eat 5 times a day. And then I finally came off of that. And then I started doing I was more of a fruitarian. And then, I came back off of the fruit and started eating more salads. Now, one of the things that I did learn even before I did the carnivore diet is that anything white, if it's white, I wanted to avoid it. Potato chips, sugar, salt, mashed potatoes, rice, French fries, Doritos, Coca-Cola, ice cream, cake, candy, all of that. All right. And it took some time to move that stuff out of my diet. It took time. So first, before we even get into that, what we want to do is start becoming honest about what we're eating and the things that we know our body does not appreciate. We got to be honest about it. All right. So now, all those things that I just named, if it's white or if it's sugary or anything like that, the candies, all of that, the drinks, you got to pull back on it. So I get it. It's a gradual thing. I'm not telling you to go cold turkey. What I am saying is list all the things that you're eating throughout the week. Milk, sugar, bread, any of that, list it. Rice, noodles, pasta, list it out. Then what you want to do is make a conscious effort that, okay, this week I'm going to cut out 2 of those things. I'm just going to cut out 2. I don't need to cut out everything, but if I had to choose 2 that I'm going to cut out, I'm going to choose 2. And so then, once you do that, you go through that week after you've cut those 2 things out, and you be disciplined, at least just for those 2 things, and let that roll over into the next week. Okay, and you feel good because you cut. Okay, I know that wasn't good for me to be eating. I'm gonna cut those 2 things out. Roll into the next week, cut another thing out. Another one of those 10 things that's probably on your list that you eat that you know is not good for you. You got Cokes in your refrigerator. And by the way, if you know it's not good for you, don't buy it. See, I know some of y'all have, people you live with, family members, whatever, and they bringing stuff into the house and you buying stuff for them. One of the things I do in my house is if I know it's not good for me, it's not coming through that door. If it's not good for me, it's not coming through the door. So that would just be my suggestion. Don't bring it in the house if you know it's not going in your mouth. Don't bring it in the house if you know it shouldn't go in your mouth. Okay. So start learning to cut things. This is where you're disciplined. Let me say this to you, and I've said this in previous sessions, okay? One of the biggest issues I see with people is a lack of discipline. When I see somebody who's, plus size, if you will, then I see a discipline issue, a lack of discipline. So all of us have that. Well, first of all, we've been told to eat these foods, and food is an addiction. It's a drug. Sugar, as a matter of fact, is a drug more potent than cocaine. They don't tell you that, but they want to put it in everything. They want to put sugar in everything. They want to put it in. When I was in South America, I could get some English peas because I used to love me some English peas, and just eat them. I eat the English peas by themselves, no sugar in them, none of that. When I come up here to North America, I can't find English peas nowhere without sugar. I'm looking on the back of the pack. We got 5 grams of sugar. They call them sweet peas up here. I don't need them to be sweet. I just need them to be natural. That's what I need. No, at any rate, they put sugar in everything because it's a drug, more addictive than cocaine. Okay, so you want to cut that out of your diet as much as possible. All right, so we got this. You're learning to be disciplined about what you're putting in your mouth by starting to cut these whites. Unless if you're on that carnivore diet, the only thing white you're supposed to be eating is white meat. That's it. We talking about milk and sugar and cream and dairy and this and cheese and potato chips. Cut it out. All right. Start to phase that stuff out of your diet. Then you're going to start to learn, what your body responds to. By the way, let me say this too. Once again, this is a serious thing now, because once you start cleansing your system of this stuff, you can't just go back because you're going to have ailments, kind of like what I'm feeling right now because I decided to have some pizza on Sunday. Because when you go back, your body is now got to process the garbage that is not used to processing. So you got to be very cognizant of the fact that once you start this, you can't go back. I had this guy who I used to talk to. His whole thing, he was a natural foods guru. And he'd always say, whenever he sees a problem in somebody, he's like, oh, you need to change your diet. Oh, the diet is the problem. Oh, that child is acting up over there. Yeah, they need to change their diet. So I remember I was talking to him. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm changing my diet. I'm ready to I took all this stuff out of my diet. He was like, well, I ain't going that far. Because he said, if you take all of the garbage out of your diet, then you're going to have a problem digesting the garbage. If you stop eating the garbage, you can't digest the garbage. All right? And so I'm saying that to say, once you start this, you need to be cognizant. You can't just jump up and be like, okay, I'm going back to McDonald's, or you're going to be on the floor in pain. All right? You're not going to be able to go back to that without having some issues.